Welcome everyone to Init Talks. Happy to see everybody. Welcome in. And we have a Nina today and Esmeralda with us. So that's a special Init Talks. First time we got two guests at the same time. They did Daytona 24, so welcome girls.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. So let's start. How was your Daytona 24? What kind of issues did you experience for this race? Let's go. I think we can start with Nina and then Esmeralda going to tell about her experience as well.
Yeah, sure. So I did the qualifying, which didn't go as well as I planned, but we qualified P9 in class, which is all right. But then I drove the start and sadly had a spin at the start, completely my own fault, but I didn't touch anyone, didn't touch the wall or whatever, so it was fine. I was just down a couple of seconds of the field, but yeah, from then on we just kept it clean, and maybe it was also a good thing that we weren't in the field, because there were some issues up ahead that I saw and that kind of stuff. So in a 24-hour race there's plenty of time to make up time, obviously. So we just completely went hey, let's keep it safe, just without incidents and everything. And yeah, it was pretty much without incidents for the first, I don't know, 2 hours or something. Just a couple off tracks, but nothing really. And then I already left the cockpit and gave it over to Sarah, I believe, at first. And then it was between Sarah and Esmeralda for a little bit, and eventually I went to bed, but maybe Esmeralda can talk about her stint a bit more than.
Yeah, well, I have to be honest, I don't remember very well. So, but yeah, I took the car from, I think, for my first stint, it was still without rain. Stint went fine, no major issues. And then in Sarah, her next stint, it started to rain. So that was interesting.
Just a second.
Sorry, I got a bit distracted there. No, it was pretty difficult conditions, and Sarah Dove drives with a, what was it, G29, I think, which makes it difficult to drive in the rain. So I took over.
Is it your cat again? Sorry.
It's fine.
So yeah, so I took over from Sarah and didn't really have any major issues. And then I think Beemsterboer took over.
Yeah, that's right around the time when I then went to bed. And obviously, as you mentioned, the first set of rain was very difficult, very spotty rain, and very changing conditions. So the track was different every lap, but we fought our way back up to 8th place, if I remember correctly. And and then with rain it was a bit all over the place. All teams had different kind of pit stops when people went on wets. Maybe some people still was out on dries and everything. But yeah, we just kept the car clean for a very long time. And then as you said, in the night, Beemsterboer then went in, and I went to bed because my stint was very early in the night. I think it was 3 a.m. roughly. So in the night, there were some 1 or 2 incidents, I think, Esmeralda, which lost a little bit of time, but yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, Sarah got hit in the back.
Oh, right. Yes.
I don't know if it was a GTP or
yeah.
SpongeBob.
Yeah, it was a SpongeBob livery. And I mean, yeah, it's just they just went a bit wide into the entry of the second horseshoe, and then just on the wet track, very difficult conditions, locked the tires a little bit and just rear-ended us a bit, which wasn't too bad. I think it was 6 minutes of repairs, so it was all right. And then in the night we had, I think, 1 contact with the wall of like 15 minutes of repair. And I think Beitske went off as well. I don't know if she had any like contact with that.
Yeah, I
But
think she went straight into a wall once.
Wow.
yeah, and then we had wait, I actually have like a small recap on the side here. We went back a couple positions. I don't remember. Oh yeah, we were up to 6th at first and went back to 8th because of that. And then when I got up, it was like me and Beitske just, you know, swapping stints. And we went back down to 6th with, I don't know, I think like 6 hours to go or something when you and Sarah came back online. And yeah, from that, just further like trying to keep it clean and everything. And we managed to be in a very comfortable P4 in class, and with like a couple laps to the car behind and a couple laps to the car in front. So it was a very stable condition at that stage. And then we just yeah, did our own race and kept it out of the wall and everything. And that's also where we finished. So P4, that's a great result. And yeah, I think also Esmeralda, for you, it was like the highest SOF you ever drove in.
Yeah, definitely.
And you did very well for that.
Thank you.
So yeah, your times were really good. You were pretty consistent and everything. And yeah, overall, great team. Like, I'm looking forward to the next time I get to drive with the 3 girls, and it was great fun.
Yeah, you just said that you had some kind of like mixed conditions in the race. I think we had the same. I'm not sure if conditions were the same in all splits in our racing, but we also had kind of spotted rain, and it just you know, started and then ended again. Race with Olympus Sport. This time we've been in a GTP car, Ferrari. And, you know, we end up P5, and we actually didn't finish. So we had like 4 or 5 hours till the end of the race. And unfortunately, we had to call in the car because one of the teammates, he just, you know, braked and went straight to the wall. And just broke the whole front of the car. And yeah, unfortunately, we just like, okay, we okay, we P5 like out of 22 cars, so only like 4 GTPs survive in the split. That was crazy.
That is crazy, yes.
Yeah, you know, definitely that's the first Daytona for everybody in our racing where we had different conditions, where we had rain first time. Would you like to have you know, to drive in the dry, or like it was really interesting for you to drive in the rain and this mixed conditions? And how was it for you to, like, when you jump into the car, and how was it to get used to the conditions, and Nina and Esmeralda?
I'll let you go first.
Yeah, it's fine. So when I jumped in for Sarah, I hadn't driven in the rain in that race yet, so I jumped in right in the rain. But it actually went quite well. I was really comfortable with the car. So I think I was really happy with how it went, because, you know, there's nothing in that first stint that could have gone better than it did. Unfortunately, in my second stint, so as we already talked about, that we had some damage, I was on cold tires out in the rain, just got in the car. And yeah, I completely misjudged the bus stop, which ended us in the wall, which was a shame, really. But after that, we picked up the pace again, and yeah, it was like it was challenging, but I was also very comfortable, which was great for the circumstances.
Yeah, and then when I got back in, also because like I drove the very first stint, and it was obviously dry at that stage, and then I was just like around and like spotting and that kind of stuff, but I didn't drive in the wet in the race until after I slept. And so yeah, I went out onto a track that had pretty stable but like medium rain, and then for my second night stint, it was starting to, like, the rain had stopped just when I got back in the car, And then quite quickly there was like the dry line really forming up, and I went out like already on slicks again, which was fine on the line. But if you ever needed to like step off the line, then it was still very slippery. But yeah, we managed to just keep it on track, keep it pointed straight, and it was very fun. So I really, really enjoyed driving these like changing conditions, where you kind of have to like judge every lap a little bit, like how much grip you have, and just not overdoing it, but still trying to be as fast as you can. And yeah, that was fun. It was also very rewarding because it was a drying track, so the conditions were getting better and better, and then it was just so rewarding to have like new fastest laps like every couple of laps.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt very rewarding driving in those conditions.
That's great. Also got a question to Esmeralda. Was it your first time in LMP2 car, or you drove this car before this race?
No, I've driven it before. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
got plenty of experience in the LMP2.
That's great. You know, I found it by myself that LMP2 is a lot easier to drive in rain conditions. Like, it's really fun. If we're talking about GTP, it's really hard sometimes because you just down with speed because you can gain boost. You're not braking that hard with this car. Unfortunately, I didn't try Daytona in rain conditions because my stint should be like in the morning the next day. And the teammate who drove before me crashed the car, so unfortunately I didn't get into the car in wet conditions. So how was it for you to manage the traffic? Because traffic at Daytona was crazy sometimes, especially on the start of the race when everybody close and GTP is reaching you and you're reaching at the same time actually the GT3s. How did you manage to go through this?
Well, Nina, you should start because you started the race.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So since I was down by like 5 seconds to like the back of the LMP2 field quite consistently, I didn't really lose much time to them at the start, but like obviously because of my spin, I was back a bit. And then I was in this condition, or like in this position where I just caught up to the GT3 field for lapping them the first time, and right at the same time the GTP field arrived to lap me. So I had, obviously because it's like the first few laps of the race, the GT3 field was still very tight together, and I had to really try to navigate them and get through them. But I also had to yield to the GTPs coming from behind all the time. So in a couple of situations, it was really tight and really difficult to find your place, and just to also predict where the other classes go, and just make it very obvious with your car positioning and your kind of like language that you convey with how you position your car, where you want to go, to signal like the slower class that you want to overtake, but also simultaneously to the GTP that you see them, that you leave them the space. And it was tricky, and I did lose a bit of time in all of that traffic then. But yeah, at the end it was fine, because especially for like the first half of the race, it was just very much like, okay, just stay out of incidents, keep the car clean. The race is still going on for so many hours that like a bit of time here or there doesn't matter. It's just important to keep it out of the wall and everything.
Yeah, that's true. I think the main thing in like endurance races overall, in that long races like Daytona 24, just to keep car on the track. And if you like, better to lose a bit more time on the track with the traffic than end up with crashing GT3 or something like this. So yeah, I think I agree with you with this. And Esmeralda, how was it for you? How did you manage the traffic from your side?
So as Nina mentioned before, it was my first race in like this SOF. So it was a lot easier than I was used to, because most of the time in lower SOF it's just less clean and they give you less space. And also in like I gave lots of space just to not come in contact with anyone, but I gave way too much than that was actually necessary. So it takes a lot getting used to, because the driving is way more clean than I am actually used to. And yeah, I still have loads to learn. So I'm taking every experience into the next race and get better and better.
It's awesome.
Yeah, maybe a bit for context, like our SOF in the race of the LMP2s was, I think, 3.2K or something. And you, like, your iRating is, I think, like at like 1500, because you just don't do a lot of officials, you know, there's no shame in that. And I absolutely know the feeling. But yeah, it's definitely that at this like SOF, you can really trust the other cars around you to just hold their line, and it's fine if you just give like on your, I don't know, on your inside, to just have like, I don't know, 1.2 cars of width, just giving them that for like a little bit of error, but like they will keep your line. But if you're not used to that, then you probably give like 1.5 to 2 car widths of space in the inside. But you know, we were spotting for you, and we were trying to just make sure that like, hey, you're fine, you can absolutely do it like that, but you can also like be a bit closer. People tend to keep their lines, and you can trust them at that SOF.
Yeah, you know, that's actually really awesome that Esmeralda had this opportunity to drive with you, because when you know, like starting, you're not doing a lot of officials, you're not doing, for example, a lot of endurances, and you get into the team where you got faster people and who's got more experience. You definitely, you know, just jumping to the next step after such events, and I think that was really good. So Esmeralda, what do you think? How was it for you to drive with, like, to gain experience from your teammates in this event?
Yeah, well, we talked about it last time that you interviewed me, but it would be a dream for me to join this team, and then a couple of people made it happen, and I have to thank Nina for this as well. Because she heard it, and she immediately contacted Steffi about it. So yeah, it's, for me, it was really a dream come true, and they can learn me so much. So it's just overall a great opportunity for me to take steps in sim racing. And obviously I'm not there yet. I still have lots to learn. I have to get quicker and quicker, but I'm with the right people for that now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to all the races that we can do together. And I was truly honored to be able to race this with the 3 girls.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, it's also, to add to that, maybe a little backstory. We were racing at the Sim Expo, you know, you were part of that. And then that's where I met you for the first time, and we got along great and everything. And then the race came on. And obviously I looked at like people before and saw like, okay, you have 1500 iRating, that's, you know, not bad, but like, I don't know what to expect and here and there. But then you really, really surprised me with your lap times. You were really quick. You were up there with like, really like the fastest of us. And that's when also, like, you mentioned that you would love to be part of a dream team, and I was like, yeah, well, you definitely have the pace, and I was like, yeah, well, you'd be a great addition, and you absolutely were. Very happy to have you on the team for this race, and
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you know, a little bit tricky thing about iRating. Yeah, when you're starting, you got like 1500, but you got a really good pace, and people just like, oh, you're just 1.5K driver, like, you're not going to drive fast, yeah, and then you're driving fast. It's really cool. But I'm pretty sure that Esmeralda going to gain iRating, like, with no time. Here's a really interesting question in the chat from viewers. Were there any dramas in the pit lane? You know, I saw one GT3 in our race, just teammates, that was Matt Loveridge, who's also in the Olympus team. And when he was out, I was watching his stream, and his teammates, they were going, and you know, here's the last lap, almost next to the pit lane, the guy who's driving, and and teammates like shout, go to pit lane, because you almost miss it, and they get the speeding in pits, but he got into pit lane. That was really crazy. Did you have any experience like this with a pit lane? Maybe, especially in the wet conditions. Maybe, I don't know, some people miss their pit stall, or maybe you had some funny moments as well.
Yeah, I mean, by our smiling, you probably can guess that yes, we did have something. So when the first rain hit, we stayed out on dries for quite a bit, and but then it started raining like more, and we were like, okay, the lap times are getting significantly slower, so we have to pit for wets. And then Sarah was in the car at the time, and we were just like, okay, like we have, I don't know, we had just had a couple laps left in our stint anyway, so we were like, okay, we just pit like 2-3 laps early. And then she went on to like the apron and like, normal pit entry, and started turning left, and the car didn't do anything.
Oh no.
And then, she held this, and she was in this like absolute aquaplaning and was absolutely dead center straight. The car did not move at all. And then she was like, oh, she's gonna miss pit entry. Well, okay, then we just do another lap. Steered right, nothing happened. and then just like, okay, well, we passed it. Like we have to like go back onto like we were like at where like the grass already starts at the tri-oval, and then kind of try to make it on track, obviously without spinning or hitting other cars and getting in the way and stuff. And we actually had another team message us like, hey, you're sliding around, you should pit. And then we just like text a bet like, yeah, we tried, like we just missed it, we aquaplaned straight. That was kind of funny. And then next lap, we just managed. It was just like you had like this really long, straight and wide line where like the water was completely standing.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to really like positively cross like that puddle to really get grip again, and to be able to, number one, steer, and number two, slow down. And yeah, then later in the race, I think it was like around like sunrise or something. We also had one problem where we had a driver change, and I think it was bite scale. I don't remember exactly, but when you do a driver swap, the pit limiter turns off. It's on before, but like since you get out of the car, which stops the engine, and then you get back into the car, that deactivates the pit limiter, obviously. And she went out on her first stint, and suddenly thought to herself like, that's a bit fast for pit lane. And then already was like, oh, pit limiter and slow down. But like we already got like the drive-through penalty for that then. Yeah, it happens. It didn't lose us any positions or something. That was during the time when we were already in P4 and just had like a comfortable gap to the cars in front and behind. So it was fine. It didn't matter in the end, but it was kind of funny that we were just driving and then suddenly, oh, that's a bit fast. And I think that was it for pit lane, because since we had our aquaplaning at the start, we knew that, okay, pit entry is difficult, and just take it easy, make sure that you don't spin and that you slow down enough and that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, when Bijske tried to clear the penalty, I think from cutting the track, because she slid onto the grass, she drove one lap more and then tried to go for pit lane and also failed to get into the pit lane.
Oh, that was when I was sleeping. All right, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
So she went straight as well.
Yeah, I saw even like in the top split, even people did that. So it was certainly we weren't the only team who struggled with pit entry.
No, and now I think of it, I like you have on pit exit, you have the little turn.
Oh yeah.
So I braked for that little turn, locked both front wheels, and just slid out of the pit lane onto the track. So that got me a drive-through as well. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know,
but that's it for pit lane incidents.
overall, Daytona pit enter is really tricky. I remember how I did oval race here with next gen cars, and I think we had really long race, like I know, like 80 laps or something like this. And we were going to pit for fuel with a pack of the cars. So I had like 2 or 3 cars ahead of me. We pitted together. And one guy, he, in the last moment from outside line, he thought like, okay, I'm going to pit with you guys. And, you know, he just, not in time, he just crossing my line. I looked up my front wheels and I just bowling other cars in front of me. And we all go into the grass, you know. And then speeding in the pit. So yeah, even in you know, in dry conditions, Daytona is not really easy to pit. And yeah, as people saying in chat, also Verstappen did it twice. I think I saw that he missed the pit lane on Daytona 24 this time.
So if anything, we're just as good as F1 drivers.
Yes, that's true. Stepping back a little bit from the main event, how was preparing for you? So what did you do? How you managed to create the setup which is comfortable for everybody in the team? That's a question to both of you.
Yeah, so at first we just, you know, obviously had like some meetings before. We're like, okay, what is like the rough plan? When is everyone available and here and there? And because like we had the weather forecast as well. And then it was really nice because pretty much everyone was available whenever. It was the easiest planning I've done ever for an endurance race. And yeah, and then we just started doing some laps. We looked at like, we all have like the same conditions, kind of, roughly. And then had, I think, 4 different setup shops, like setups from different setup shops. And we're just trying all of them out, see, okay, which one do we like best, which one is fast. And then we found one that everyone was like already pretty comfortable with. And then, yeah, just changed like some slight things on it. We didn't change it a lot, but what did we change? We changed like the diff a little bit, just for, you know, it being more stable and secure. And then also like, I think the third spring and the heave spring, just for control in the bus stop, basically, because again, we didn't want to go for like absolute speed. We wanted to go for consistency and definitely controllability. And yeah, once we had that, then we just drove in different conditions, made sure that the setup also works in the wet, for example, which is obviously very important. And yeah, had a couple very nice training sessions together. Was nice. And yeah, tried to get everyone's input and find something that fits everyone.
That's awesome.
Maybe you can also add to that, Esmeralda, how it felt for you. I don't know how much like practice for endurance events you had before. Can't speak.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. On Daytona, I had quite a lot of experience because I've been doing the 24-hour event, or I think this is my 4th time doing it. So yeah, but obviously with the new tire update, the car is completely different. And then I practiced more for this one, I think, because you know I wanted to be quick enough. And well, yeah, setup wise, I just left it to you guys because you know I'm not that great with setups. I'll be completely honest about that. I'm clueless. So yeah, I tried the different setups and they all felt okay. This one felt for me as the best one, and thankfully for everyone. So yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, not too much to add. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Also, like I, for example, was I think the only one who preferred a different setup initially, but I also mainly drive the F4 usually, which is kind of like happy on the rear axle. So I'm really used to a car that is very like loose, so like oversteering and that kind of thing. And but then I was also like, okay, I'm fine with driving a different like driving style. I had to change like my pedal input slightly for that to get back to the pace, but it was definitely fine, and I was happy to, yeah, change my little part for the team effort so that everyone's comfortable with the setup.
Yeah, also, just let everybody choose the set and decide what to do with it. So just like, guys, you just share a set with me. I'm going to get used to it. So I don't really care about setups because I usually drive, Porsche Cup Series, for example, and I'm driving the open set where a car more loose, and I'm driving the fixed set where a car a bit more on the steery. So just kind of adapt my driving to it. And it's usually for me really easy to drive in endurances because I'm like, I'm going to be okay with whatever set you're driving. So because some people just prefer a little bit more in the steery because it's a little bit more safe, kind of. So if they feel okay with this, I'm like, all right, let's go for it. So what plans do you have with the Dream Team for this year? So maybe some more special events, and so what is your plans for the future?
I don't know the exact events by heart that you guys wanted to do, especially like Sarah and Esmeralda, because like I have to like see a little bit how many what weekends I'm free next year, because I will probably spend like some weekends at the Nordschleife. Yeah, I'm gonna update on that like as soon as that's more like ready and stuff. But I will probably spend quite some weekends where I'm not available. Also, the IVRA season like continues in February in about a month. So that's also when I have like my weekends where I do like race control and where I'm just like occupied with other stuff. So but there are a couple races that we definitely can do together. And for the others, especially if it's like a shorter one, like a 4 hour or 6 hour, we don't need like 4 drivers for that, So it's absolutely fine if Sarah and Esmeralda do it like maybe just the two of them, or maybe also Beitske can join them for like something. It just depends like when we have time. But Esmeralda, if you know exactly like what races you want to do.
Well, I know that the three of us all filled in Sebring.
Yeah.
So that's the first one that we're gonna do. I don't think Bicycle will be there, but I'd have to confirm. So that's the first thing that we're gonna do as a team. That will be Sebring, the 12 hours of Sebring.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wouldn't know about the rest of the calendar. I'm trying
I think Spa 24 is on there.
Yeah, I'm trying to get everyone to drive Spa, but I'm the only one that wants to.
Why don't you want to drive Spa, Nina?
Well, it's more that I don't really enjoy GT3s that much. That's more the thing. It's just I don't know. The car in iRacing, I'm just not that well connected to the road in them. It's hard to describe a little bit, but for the limited time that I've spent in ACC, for example, it just felt more natural to me there, how the GT3s drive. But yeah, it's definitely something that I can get used to. So I'll just have to see again if I'm free that weekend and that kind of stuff. And maybe it's also just a nice challenge to drive something that I'm not that comfortable with, and just see how it goes, and maybe see that as like a little bit more of a challenge to really like. I don't think I'm that great in that car, but let's still try to be fast. So.
Yeah, that maybe can be a good challenge for you. Also, funny thing that you just said about ACC, and it's a completely opposite for me. So I can't drive GT3s in ACC. I'm really comfortable with them in that racing. So yeah, it's really funny. So you said that you prefer more prototypes. Yeah, GT3 is a little bit different. I also, prefer more Porsche Cup over the GT3s. But for Spa 24, yeah, I'll be happy to drive this event because we got a new version of Spa also. It's going to be really fun to drive. here. I think it will be great. Speaking about Sebring 12 hours, are you planning to use the LMP2 again, or maybe give it a try to GTP cars or something like this?
Well, for me, I love the LMP2. It's my second favorite car in iRacing. The first one just being the F4, my baby. And I love the LMP2 as well, though. But yeah, GTP might be a thing. The reason why we didn't go for that this race was because you have a lot more setup options and also like in-car settings, you know, stuff that you have to be aware of and have to know how to use it, like the whole hybrid system and then like the in-car ABR anti-roll bar changes that you can do and that kind of stuff. So it's definitely cool and interesting. It's just quite a bit more complex. So in my opinion, we just would need a bit more of preparation time. And that's basically what it comes down to, how much like preparing we have. I wouldn't mind driving GTPs. Again, as I said, like GT3, I'd rather not. And LMP2 is just something that I can quite easily jump into and be reasonably quick with rather quickly.
Awesome. Esmeralda, what do you think about this? Would you like to drive GTPs?
Well, we considered the idea, and I think Nina might have forgotten, but we talked about it for like 10 seconds, I think. And Sarah also agreed that we just do it in the LMP2 because the GTPs are at this time, it's just too much work. Mm-hmm. But I'm definitely interested in doing some events with a GTP, but also I have maybe 10 laps in a GTP. I own one, but like in iRacing, where you think that I in real life own one. But I've driven 10 laps maybe, so I mean, I'd first have to get a lot of practice in and then see if it's really as fun as it sounds.
Yeah, I found it for myself. So that was my second Daytona 24 with GTP car. First one I did with a TRS Sports, and we did with BMW. There was only one GTP this time, and BMW was a little bit understeery for me. And we drove Ferrari this time. It was a really good balanced car, so I really like it. And in my opinion, it's not that complicated as LMP1, which we had before. And I think you should give it a try. If you're going to have more time for preparation, I think you can handle this car pretty well if you're driving LMP2 in a nice way. So they're really close with how you're driving them on the track. So yeah, I think worth to try.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, one more thing I also just thought of in this conversation was I do enjoy being in the middle class in endurance races, or at least not the fastest or the slowest, because then you just have like cars to overtake of other classes, but you also get this like, hey, you have faster cars approaching, you have to see how to deal with faster traffic, and I just enjoy that you have like both sides of the action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting because when you're in middle class, you just let go someone and you overtake in the GT3 class. If you're in GT3 class, you just let go everybody all the time. It can be a little bit annoying sometimes. In GTPs, you just driving and praying like, I hope I'm not going to kill anyone like GT3 or LMP2. So yeah. So it's
as a faster class, it's always like, I hope they see me, and then obviously like you expect the slower classes to just keep their racing line, and then not to somehow like jump out of your way in the last second, because that's when you also change your lane to overtake them, and then two cars going for the same piece of tarmac is usually not a good combination.
Yeah, funny thing that a couple of times I almost crash GT3s because in the last moment, so you just predicting that they will go and follow their racing line, and in the last moment they're like, oh, I should let go of this GTP, and they like switching the line to opposite. I'm like, oh no. That was really, really afraid to crash the GT3 because every time you like crashing them, they so angry because they like, oh, that's GTP again, that's prototypes. No letting.
Yeah, like I always like for endurance races or like multi-class races, what I like to do is to, I don't know, open a streamer or like somebody look at like a couple laps of other classes, so I know what like their normal laps look like, and also maybe where they are grip limited, because maybe once the corner is very understeer for a GT3, so that way, if I'm in a faster class, I know that probably on the exit of this where they are understeer, I shouldn't overtake on the outside, but I should rather just cut back and overtake on the inside because they're grip limited anyway. So I try to just proactively try to avoid like being in difficult situations for both of the cars.
That's really good advice, I think, for people who's thinking about endurance races. So for myself, what I did, I tried to drive in GT3s and then in prototypes on the same track. So you kind of see then where to expect LMPs incoming, being GT3 class. And as a prototype, you like already know that you can overtake here because you already saw being in GT3 where LMP is incoming for you. So yeah, I think that's a good thing. Also that you can watch maybe a replay instead of jumping to the car. Maybe you're going to need more time to adapt to race it. So just jump into replay and just see where people overtaken most of the time and where, as you said, GT3s had like more understeer or something like this. I think that's a good thing. So we got Assetto Corsa EVO, which just came out to early access, and you just said that you tried it on Sim Racing Expo. Can you give me some like emotions which you had, your feedback about it? Do you like it? That's a question to Nina and Esmeralda. Not sure if Esmeralda tried it, but yeah, I'm really curious about this.
Me or you?
Well, I mean,
Okay.
you go first.
Okay. So yeah, we like first off we both tried it. Since we had like an exhibitor pass for the Sim Expo, it was really nice because we could just on the evening of like the second to last day, we just went over to the stand that had AC EVO on, and we're like, hey, we're working on this and that stand, and would it be possible tomorrow morning? Because we had an hour before it officially opens. If maybe like tomorrow morning we can already try it before people come in, because obviously we were there for like to work, so we didn't really get much time to walk around all of the stands. And but yeah, it was nice because just before like it opened for everyone, we just could try it for a little and didn't have to wait in line forever. And yeah, so I don't know how much has changed since then, because since it came out, I had Daytona to do, and then also this week some other stuff. So I haven't played it on my own rig yet, but from what it felt like on the Sim Expo, it was really a nice, how do you say, it's not as much like a sim as iRacing, for example, but it's also way more advanced than just like an arcade or something. It's a really good blend, in my opinion, of a realistic feeling car, but also it's approachable for new people who want to get into this, but want something that's just more than like Forza or Gran Turismo. To be fair, I haven't driven Gran Turismo, so but like from what it looks like, it seems a bit more on the arcade side. But yeah, it felt nice. It really felt like the feedback that I was getting from the car felt, as I said, not entirely real, but definitely predictable and kind of like what I would expect from a car. So yeah, I think when they bring out the full game and everything, it's probably going to be a really nice game to just spend some time on.
So what about you, Esmeralda?
Well, it's not too much to add, I think. So the last time I did Assetto Corsa, it's been a while, especially when I was at the expo, it had been a while. So it feels very different compared to iRacing. For me personally, I prefer the way iRacing handles GT3s. But I think it felt pretty good. It's just weird. Like the car slides so much, and I'm trying to make sense of the feedback I was getting, but I couldn't really make sense of it. But I think that's just because for me it's been so long since I did ACC, and I've completely gotten used to iRacing. So, like, I don't have an opinion on it yet. I don't know if I'm gonna get it because iRacing is my sole focus right now. But yeah, it's still in early access. There's still a lot that can change, and I've heard it was open world as well, which sounds awesome. But also, I think Nina is right that it's a blend between arcade and sim racing.
Yeah,
And,
maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Maybe to add a little bit to it again, it's iRacing is usually quite good on like race tires. So from the from the little bit of like race cars that I've driven in real life as well, that's how I always compare my stuff to like when I drive iRacing, and that feels very natural, especially in like Formula cars or something. And Assetto Corsa and also AC EVO, I think what they do quite well is simulate like street tires on a circuit, where you just don't have this like absolute like peak performance of a tire or something, but you have a tire that just that's more like a street tire. You know, you have way more of like a gradual loss of friction and like grip. And race tires are usually you have way more grip, but once the grip is gone, it's also like you have way more or way less margin from grip to no grip, where a street tire is more like a bit more gradual from like peak grip to you're absolutely like understeering or something.
What combo did you try, like car and track? Do you try like different, or there was only one combo for everybody?
No, we tried, or like I tried some, I think it was a Porsche Cup or Porsche GT3 at Imola. And another one was like, I think it was like an Alpine was it Brands Hatch or something? I don't quite remember, but definitely like some Porsche at Imola.
What about you?
I wouldn't know. I can't remember. I don't even know the track, but I think it was. Well, I don't think it was Imola, but I can't remember.
I've certainly driven Imola. Like there were a couple different things to try. I don't know if you tried like the same stuff as I do, because on the Sim Expo it was like pre-configured. Like you had a choice of like 3 or 4 different combinations, and then it was like Porsche Cup at Imola, and the next one was like Alpine in the wet at this and that track, and then you have I don't know, BMW 1 Series at this and that or something.
So I drove in the wet. I know that for sure.
I don't know exactly like the combinations anymore, but like it was something like that. You just had to pick one of the combinations, and I tried 2 of those combinations. I don't know if you like switched over as well, but it's been a while since, so like don't worry if you don't remember.
Yeah, so I tried it on early access like a couple of days ago on my own rig with my direct drive T818. It felt really good. So you saying that it's like something between arcade and simulator, I would say that for now, for me, it feels like more like iRacing. So it's really close with how I'm braking. So I decided to go with Porsche Cup at Laguna Seca because I did it recently in iRacing, not a long time ago. And it felt really good in terms that we had some kind of base setup in AC EVO. It felt almost the same as in iRacing in terms of how I'm braking, what force I'm applying to the brake pedal, and and overall how car feels on the track. It was great. Can't tell anything about street cars, so we tried a few cars like Ford Escort and I think Alfa Romeo Giulia. And I tried also BMW M2, which we got in our racing in rookie class right now, and it felt also really close to what we got in the racing, and it was really cool to see that on low settings and graphics and everything, it looks decent. So I think that AC EVO going to be a good entry point for some people, especially that it's more open to everybody, like. As you said, here's some cars with street tires, and maybe some people can be interested in them because they're driving their own cars on the racing tracks, and just would like to drive their cars in the sim as well. And so yeah, I think that's going to be a great addition. And for now, just feel like it's closer to our racing than to ACC, which is I'm happy with. And yes, performance not the best in terms of FPS, but I'm pretty sure they're going to improve it after some time. And it should be a really interesting addition to our sim racing world.
Yeah, it sounds like. Oh, sorry. It sounds like it changed quite a bit since that we tried it. So in that regard, obviously when was it? I think October.
Yeah, it was like in October, and so like I think mid of October. And also, what I wanted to add, keep in mind that we at the Sim Expo we just tried it with some rig that was set up like somehow, and we didn't spend that much time on it. And also when I said it's like between sim and arcade, to be fair, I'm comparing it to iRacing, which I find usually quite realistic, and like Gran Turismo 7, which is also like pretty realistic, but like more on the arcade side. So it's definitely more on the iRacing side, and like it's definitely nowhere in the terms of like arcade, like Need for Speed. That's not what I meant when I said arcade, just to like clarify. It's definitely close to a simulator. And yeah, from what we drove, I bet they have improved a lot since then. So.
Yeah, so maybe a set of course EVO will be a set of course which I'm going to drive, and like with community, maybe if we're going to have some kind of events here, like maybe championships, I'll be happy to drive it because I really like it from the first try. Yes, it's completely different, as you said, to trying the new simulator on your own rig because you got your own settings. Like I'm aware that I have to turn off the, all these effects like spring and all the stuff. They can be on events because just I don't know, guys just set up like the something base for everybody. So yeah, just highly recommend to everybody to try it on their own rigs. I think you're going to like it. And open world is really interesting, and not sure how it's going to be in the game, but I'm so excited to see it in the future. All right, and would like to ask about what is your own plans, Nina and Esmeralda? So outside of the dream team, what's your plans for 2025, like in our racing or in other simulators as well?
Yeah, for me, it's I definitely want to do some events with Olympus again, since I have like lately I really haven't driven a lot with the team. Which I want to spend time with them again because I'm also way more active again on the Discord, and I just miss driving with the guys. And yeah, it's always really fun. And so like probably the 24 hours of Nordschleife is something that I'm gonna do with them again. But I'll see how availability is and here and there. And so who knows, maybe I'm also doing it with the Dream Team. It's certainly a race that I want to do. And yeah, apart from that, there are just a couple of different things on iRacing that I want to be part of, like some events from other organizations or companies that I want to just give a go and just see how well I compare against people who do that. And yeah, and also outside of like sim racing itself, as I said, I'm probably going to spend a couple of weekends in the next season at like a track in real life, and not necessarily as driving, but we'll see. We'll get to that one once that's there. And yeah.
All right. What about you, Esmeralda? What's your plans in sim racing? Maybe in your real life as well. So what you're planning for 2025?
In real life, like racing related, I'm not planning anything at all. Yeah, my focus right now is on sim racing. And then, yeah, I haven't figured out yet what exactly I'm gonna do, but we've got Bathurst coming up, which I'm not sure if I'm going to, but I might do it with my own team. And then for all the special events that we're not doing with the dream team, I might do it with my own team.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've also got some other endurance races coming up that are not part of the special events that I might do with my own team. And yeah, it's not anything excited, but you know,
All right.
there are plans outside of the dream team. So.
Yeah, I hope you're going to enjoy some races with Dream Team. From my side, I will do some events with Olympus Sports. That definitely will be special events like Sebring 12 Hours and like Spa 24, some other events as well. And I think we're going to continue the championship in the EVO Club Sport. So probably I'm going to do a couple of rounds in it. So excited about this to drive Porsche Cup once again. Here's another one question from the chat. It's really interesting, I think. So as we've been talking about AC EVO, so people asking where can you place the ACC, like where it stands between iRacing and the AC EVO, or like other simulators, GT7. So for me, I think ACC is completely different, in my opinion, than iRacing. Like, it feels a bit weird for me when I'm trying to drive the GT3s and ACC. I don't know why, but I found it really hard to you know, just transfer my driving skills, my knowledge and everything from iRacing to ACC. So usually I'm struggling quite a lot with brakes. Compared to iRacing, you have to really push brakes hard, and, you know, it took long time to get used to it. So how is it for you, Nina? How do you feel in ACC after racing?
Yeah, so like I don't have that much experience in ACC. I have like 100 hours or something. And like 80 of them is like what I spent like continuously, like really trying to get like good laps in here and there. So it's very different how you have to use your pedals. So it's very difficult to like just simply switch between them. I had to really like relearn how to use the brake, just as you said. And then it took me like, I don't know, probably like really like 10 or 20 hours to like properly figure it out. And then I had the same issue going back to iRacing again. So also, like the feedback you get through the wheel is quite different, because iRacing only gives you the forces that you have like in a real steering column, whereas ACC also gives you, I think, some chassis feedback and that kind of thing. You know, it's just a bit of a different approach. It's from what I felt is that on ACC I can understand way more what the tire is doing in terms of like slip angle, and also how the assist systems work, so like traction control and ABS. And then iRacing, especially like GT3s, just feel a bit disconnected to me, but I'm also again, I'm not that good on GT3s anyway, so who am I to judge? But yeah, so it's just a bit of a different approach. Yeah.
Esmeralda, what do you think about ACC? If you tried it, I'm not really sure in this.
Oh no, yeah, I've got I think 500 hours in ACC, because I used to do the More Female Racers series. I think it's really difficult to give feedback because in ACC I'm a lot slower than I am in iRacing. A lot's got to do with the braking, which I never really figured out in ACC. I don't know why. It's just because I can definitely trail brake, and in iRacing it's all fine. But in ACC, it's the braking zone where I lose out every single time. And I've looked at telemetry a whole lot of times, but to get it right every time, it's just so difficult. While in iRacing, for me, it comes naturally. And then there's the sliding. In ACC, I am sliding everywhere. The rear is just wiggling the whole lap. And, I'm trying to go onto the throttle as soon as I think I can, but it's just every time it's too soon and I go sliding again. So I can definitely drive in ACC and I'm maybe reasonably quick or just slow. I'm not really quick, at least. So yeah. And where I put it between AC EVO and iRacing, it depends. If what you said is all correct, then ACC is definitely at the bottom of it all. But as I tried AC EVO, it kind of felt the same as ACC with the sliding and stuff. So yeah, with what you said with the changes, then I'd probably say Gran Turismo 7 and then ACC and then AC EVO and then iRacing. Mm-hmm. And then iRacing would be the most realistic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as you said, I think I'm with you in this. So you said like driving and racing just coming naturally compared to ACC. So ACC feels a bit weird for me with braking, with everything. So it's really hard. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you. So yeah, girls, it was really fun to speak with you. That's the first time we had any talks with two guests. It was really fun. Thank you so much for being here. And I wish you good luck for 2025 with racing events, with everything. And I hope it will be good for us. Less crashes, more podiums, and fun racing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, same to you. Thank you.
Thank you for hosting.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on next Init Talks. Bye-bye. See you.
Bye.